Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Farms, back at Farpoint Farms. The Orlando Hamvention event is over. Jen and I had such a great time. We are already, we had a 10.5-hour drive back. We were already planning next year's adventure down there. Going to stay a couple extra days and see some of the other cool sites that the Orlando area has to offer, including Skyline Chili and a White Castle, both within less than an hour drive of Orlando Hamvention. Who would have thought Skyline Chili, a Cincinnati favorite, and White Castle, a New England favorite, would both be in Orlando, Florida? Anyway, check out the gigantic-sized pile of goodies I brought home. You know, it's funny, when you bring home an item one or two at a time, it's hard to tell how much you are accumulating, but clearly, this was a successful adventure for me. In no certain or uncertain order here, I'm just gonna start going through this pile, and there's more behind this row of cool stuff. I'm gonna start with this. Brand new in the box, 100-channel mobile scanner from Radio Shack. Oh, what is that? The Pro 2026. Never owned this one. New in the box. He was asking 20. I bought it for 10. That's going to be a fun one to play with. You know, on my channel, we talked about analog scanners and how they still have use. That scanner right there, I'll get to it in a second, is the one that got me through Hurricane Helene. All right, next up, the box for this and the case and all that other stuff is on the ground, but here is a vintage 8mm Sony Handycam, one of the first 8mm cameras they produced. Functional, plugged it in, it works. Kind of an odd design, a little larger than the newer style ones, but I'm a fan of physical media, and you've seen I did a review of a VHS camcorder and shot some footage with it. We'll do the same with this. It did not come with the tape, so I'm gonna have to source the tape somewhere. I think they're still available, new or used anyway, and we'll come up with one of those, but that was a neat find. This one here, 23-channel Courier. I've never owned a Courier CB radio. This one was a bit odd, a phono jack for the mic, and so I wasn't able to source a mic, but I was able to find the 3-pin or 3-wire mic plug for it, so I'll have to take a microphone and do some soldering on that, and we'll get that. No, 23-channel, but still kind of a cool radio. I hope it works untested on that one, but yeah, who knows, we'll see. Below that, speaking of physical media, look, if you followed my channel, you know I'm a fan of that stuff. I've got some videos coming out on my physical media collection and on another DVD VCR combo that I have. Well, I picked up some more. $3 for a Magnavox, no, Philips Magnavox. This is a 2-head VCR. Not the most desirable, but a good backup. And if I end up not needing it, always worth something on eBay to resell to help fund trips like this. This one was a cool find. A DVD VCR, he was asking 10, I bought it for 5, but it did have the remote and the AV cables, so that's cool. Got that there. And one of the later ones, 2005, I think 2015 was the last DVD VCR combo, but still considered to be a slightly newer model than most. Got a cool, what brand is that? Repco mic, and that's, I believe, 4-pin. I'll have to put my glass on for some of this stuff here. No, that's actually a 6-pin, so that would work with my President radio down in the garage. That's probably where that one's gonna go. All right, so this is a magnetic mount mic, and it's for this. These are kind of cool. Oh, I better get that off. Those are my videotapes down there. A little portable, I've never seen one like this. It's a Uniden Karate emergency 40-channel radio. Never seen that. I'll make a video on that. And it came with all the goodies that you need to operate that. Manual, everything was there. This one here, the Mosley model SWL7, triple dipole SWL antenna array, and manual, still there with everything in there. 11 meter, 13, 16, 19, 25, 31, and 49 meters are the most used frequencies for it. But it talks about, I mean, and it's really cool. Instead of a long wire antenna, which is just kind of a random long wire, this one has isolators, and so each band has the correct length. Now, it is just a receiving antenna, but I really liked it. It's $5, never been assembled. I mean, all the components are there, and so I really like that. That was a cool one. I'm going to set that up here at the studio. This is one of those highly illegal chicken band CB radio amplifiers. Silver Eagle 350, made in the USA, it says. I have no idea. if this thing works or not, but it looked cool, and occasionally there are people that are very into these things. So that's something I picked up. Whew, boy, this list goes. Uh-oh, don't want to cause an avalanche. $1 for an SWR meter. Never, ever, my friends, pass up on a cheap SWR meter. If you're getting people into the hobby, you need one. And they're great to give out as, you know, hey, here's how to get started. This one here, kind of an unusual one, a Robin, whatever, SX101. It's just a 23 channel, but I like the look of it. It did have the original mic, and it even had the mounting bracket, so I picked that up. This one here, I do love GE radios. I don't know why, I just think they're cool. They're not particularly great talkers or anything like that, but this one, the model 3519A, it's just cool. I like it. This one, let's see, I don't even remember what this one is. Oh, the Cobra 138 sidebander, 40 channel, early 40 channel sideband radio. So we'll be playing with that one. Hopefully that works as well. This one, I have one of these. This is the Realistic 2021 Pro scanner, analog scanner, right? But this one I picked up, not because I didn't already own it, had the original manual, has the mounting bracket, which is like unobtainium, and had the original antenna. So it is complete. I checked the battery box on it. It's also cool. So these are really easy to program for analog stuff, GMRS, FRS, local law enforcement, whatever's still broadcasting in your area. I did pick up some random mics. Okay. And the hits keep going. This looks like nothing at first. Kingo, I don't know how to pronounce that, VHS UV230C, two-way rewinder. But the reason this is not garbage, and this was new in the box, $5, is that it also is a VHS tape cleaner. Not a head cleaner for a VCR, tape cleaner. If you look at old physical media, a lot of times they're covered in like a white fuzz mold. Well, if you're worried about damaging your VCR or just want to preserve that tape, you can use this, rewind and watch the tape back and forth with this thing a time or two, and that'll clean that dust, that mold off of it, and preserve the tape, give you better access and stuff. So that was a really cool hit. This unit in Washington, nice condition, all not messed with, no switches, no buttons, no dials on there. Made in the Philippines, so an older model, but like not rusty, not nasty. Just a good looking base station antenna radio with sideband. This is the exact opposite. This is a Cobra 142. No, I'm sorry. This is a Cobra 89 XLR. This is ugly. It is a 40 channel. It is a AM only and like missing bits and pieces. This is a parts radio. Parts radios still have use, especially if you come up with a chassis that is good and needs some dials, or you know, the meters are hard to come by. So this is kind of like a parts rig for me. I love these old girls, the Lollipop mics. Picked up two of them. One's a 5-pin, one's a 4-pin. This one being a lot cleaner than the other, but both of them old. These are non-amplified. These are just a regular old Lollipops. Don't have the bass button on them or anything like that. And then we get into the really cool stuff, you ask me. TI-99 4A. I probably can't see with all the stuff, but down there is a Commodore 64 that I picked up at Dayton Hamfest. Well, here at Orlando Hamcation, I got a TI-99 4A somewhere, not here, probably in the other room. There's a cartridge for like ham radio. I think it's a Morse code decoder, and it does have the power supply, so I'm super excited to play with that. I love old 8-bit computers. I really ought to start a whole nother channel just for 8-bit computers, but I have too many channels as it is and too many hobbies as it is. But this will probably show up on the channel, and I'll go through the TI-99 4A. A lot of cool stuff could be done with this. This was one of the computers that started the home computer craze. While it wasn't the TRS-80, Apple II, or Commodore PET, this was the second generation VIC-20, TI-99 4A, and Atari 400, 800. There was also a really nice Atari 800 there, but a little too rich for my blood. The bad part about this is that it doesn't take standard Atari joysticks, so a little harder if you want to play games. Cool thing about this, it had a voice command module, and there were several games. Parsec is the one I remember from my youth, playing at a friend's house, that you could play and it would actually talk, which was, I mean, absolute cutting edge. Now, why not? Let's get the TRS-80 color computer in the mix too. Again, part of that second generation of home computing craze. A 16K model, very well used, but also came with a cartridge, the Hamsoft Amtor for the TRS-80C from, I don't know, K-Tronics. Another, he thought it was a Morse code decoder. I'll be really interested to see what it does. But these are really cool. Color computer from Radio Shack. This one is very well worn, but it's the original Battleship Gray. The Color Computer 2 and 3 were the newer white style ones. This one also has the ability, you can get like a SD card cartridge and play just about any game or any program you want to play on those from the old days. This one's for the garage. I had one of these. I'll probably make a review of this when I get around to unboxing it and setting it up this spring. Outdoor TV antenna, and it's motorized. These are available everywhere under so many different names, but this one was new in the box. They sell for about 30 bucks. I was able to pick this up for $5, and I look forward to getting that up on the roof because I do like watching local TV. Then we have these, and this is pretty awesome. 4 Radio Shack digital radios, the Pro 160, there's one of those, and then there's 3 of this later style, the Pro 2051, triple trunking digital radio. There's a Pro 2055 digital trunking and another 2055 digital trunking. Rough, used, but sold as working. We'll see. Everything appears to be with them. I got to get a cord, and I'm just going to plug it in there on the bench. This is another really cool Craco Mayday 1. This is another 40 channel emergency radio. The antenna is in that Crown Royal box and the power cord for it. Great to throw in the trunk of a car. Somebody who doesn't want to have CB permanently mounted, but it works. They work. They're good to give away as gifts for people in your lives, you know. This was cool. Works. Midland 25-822. I've done a review on this. I'll probably do another one because this is just one of those radios that's been around forever and for good reason. Like, it's a radio that just does everything, and it does it pretty darn good. This bottom part slides off. If I can remember how to do that, I don't want to hurt it. And, well, I won't take it off right now, but this slides off, and this, which was also with it, slides on, allowing you to use this as a base or a mobile unit. So hook it up to an outside antenna, plug it in your cigarette lighter, and now we just have a little one-hander, basically, with all 40 channels, scan, programmable channels, I mean, the works. So this is a great radio, and I mean, I think I paid 10 or 15 bucks. That is a heck of a deal for that. Another walkie-talkie pickup on the CB band. This is a Radio Shack, also working. This is, well, I don't know what model it is, but it's one of their later ones. I think it's a copy of a Midland rubber ducky antenna, but you can take it off and mount a better antenna to it. And so that works. This was probably the most expensive thing I bought while I was there. I've gotten into digital scanner radio since we had Hurricane Helene, and I actually picked up a unit in that was a little newer to this. This is the 996T, the BCD 996T. I have the P model, right? But all of them do the P25. They're programmable. They're great radios. This one did have the original antenna, did have the brackets for it. What it did not have was the power supply, but it's just a standard 12-volt power supply. So that one there is a great, like, modern scanner, and it was pretty cool. Lastly, for my ICOM 7300, a little better speaker. So I bought the ICOM IC-SP3. It's made for one of the older radios, but it fits just fine with it, and hopefully I'll be able to hear a little better. If you know anything about me, this side I don't have any hearing on my left side anymore, so that's probably why I talk so loud all the time, but that's what's going on there. So that's it. I mean, there's a couple other little items, but nothing worth really pointing out to you. The trip was overall a huge success and a lot of fun. This is how I make content for the channel, and this is also how I fund the channel. It costs a lot of money to take days off of work for both of us, load up the van, drive down, and stay at Hamvention, but it was worth it. I think we broke even at the very least with the stuff that I plan on reselling, and I hope that some of the stuff you see here interests you enough that you'll watch the videos on them when I make them. I want to thank the folks at Orlando Hamvention for inviting Jenn and I down there. We had a good time. The weather was perfect. This morning I woke up, it was 34, and there was ice on everything. In fact, from what I understand from my wife going into work this morning, the roads were pretty crummy. So such a change for us to be able to escape, come down and have some fun and just enjoy a couple of days with some really cool people. I bumped into a lot of fellow YouTube ham, individuals. I don't know how else to describe them. We're not influencers at this point. We just love to share the hobbies that we love. And I also bumped into far more fans than I thought I was going to this far from home. When I go to a local ham fest here, I do run into a lot of people who recognize me and want to talk to me. But being that far away, being all the way down in Orlando, almost 11 hours away, and coming across so many people who are like, I know you. And then having a cool conversation about how they found the channel, the interests that they've had through the channel, and some of the hobbies that I've probably cost them money on because of the channel. That is the best. And Jen really enjoyed talking with folks too. She has no desire to be a part of the channel, unfortunately, but she was a good sport and showed up in several of the videos, if just for a moment or two. That's it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the whole event, the whole series that I put out there. Really interesting. I learned on this trip how to take a cell phone, hook it to a computer, and use the cell phone data to upload that in the middle of Orlando Hamvention, because we didn't have Wi-Fi. A lot of folks had the Starlink, but we don't have that. So that was how I managed to get those videos out to you. I had to cut the resolution back a little bit, but hopefully nobody noticed. Anyway, that'll do it for today, my friends. I hope to see you next time, and I hope to see you out at some of these events, because this is where the fun is at, my friends. This is where it's cool. If you had never been to a ham fest, you really owe it to yourself. Next one I hope to attend, April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, something like that, is Raleigh Rars Fest. They were at Hamcation, and I talked to them briefly, but they have a nice indoor event, and the fairgrounds and the Raleigh Fairgrounds are cool to just go around and check out all the other stuff that's there. So I'm going to make a day trip drive down there and check that out as well. Till next time, my friends, take care.